Alrighty, hello everybody, welcome to the channel. I have a channel message for some of y'all, so it's funny that it comes when I'm in the car, but it's what it is. I hope you're doing well. I hope you're doing the work. I hope you're drinking your water. I hope you're divesting. I hope you're boycotting. I hope you're saving your money. Don't spend your money on stupid ass shit. Don't continue this karmic loop of consumerism, capitalism, okay? Don't be your own karmic, okay, in your own life. That's what I'm trying to say. And what any means necessary, let's continue as a community, united as a collective liberation to continue to go against and stop genocides. Not just in Palestine, Congo, and Sudan, and all the other areas where we need to be focusing on, okay? Like for real. Anyways, this feels like an exhausting work. I understand, because a lot of people, we can't just go, all of that at once. That's a lie from the pit of hell, okay? And that is definitely a colonizer fucking advantage. Do not give them that. You can focus on all of them. Absolutely, you can. Someone posted the other day that if you see someone being tortured, raped, right, or someone abusing them and stuff, that you're just gonna stop and not do anything about it. No, right? You're gonna do something about it. So why wouldn't you go and be the eyewitness of what's going on? That literally people who are being abused, colonized, tortured, and all kinds of things are literally asking for help, asking us to help them to stop this fucking shit, and we don't do nothing about it. The colonizers are counting on your fatigue. They're counting on your hypocrisy. They're counting on you shut the fuck up, right? That's what they do nonstop, the shut the fuck up spell. Especially to seers or people who are truth tellers, journalists, right? This is why all the IOF are constantly projecting, saying like, the journalists who are literally exposing the truth, like risking their fucking life against them, right? And now they're saying like, they're Hamas and stuff like that. No, they're not. They're fucking losers. They don't want to admit that they are literally going to war with babies. They're blowing to pieces baby residential schools, everything. Residential school, everything. Why did I say residential school? Yeah, indigenous. Yeah, they are the original indigenous people of Palestine, obviously. And also in Sudan with the UAE. Stop fucking going to Dubai. Stop that shit. Congo, we need to stop using as much as we can these fucking products that are literally using child slavery. Children are dying. There's a huge famine and stuff, and these people are using this method, famine, starvation, and all of that. Oh my goodness. I'm just laughing because I'm literally behind something that I'm just like. Anyways, and then I just recently, this morning, I just saw this, and now I'm seeing a guy with a truck with just putting it around. For just like a lot of you, no happy Christmas, no happy Hanukkah when there's genocide. Or Kwanzaa, whatever the fuck. You can celebrate all those things when we actually do the work. Because we have work to do. There's people dying. On our name, on our religion, on our faith. Anyways, the channel message. Sorry it's like 3 minutes long, but I need to like constantly be saying this. And I don't care who doesn't like it. I don't care. If you don't like it, you don't have to be here. Go do something for yourself. We'll pray for you. May God have mercy on your soul. Because everything I expose here is for the truth and for people to wake the hell up. Not to be ignorant, selfish, and racist as you are. Anyways, the channel message here that I wanted to start, it's because it's rooted in that. It's because that is also, just like we talk about Tower and spirituality, that message, this one also is a type of distraction. It has always been. Let's talk about the cheating culture and the hookup culture. Let's talk about that. That's the one that they really fuck you guys over. Like really did. Like really did. Because the sacral is where your finances are. So when you're giving it away to multiple people, not only you're taking other people's fucking shit, karma, and fucking whatever situation that they haven't done, not just this lifetime, the lifetime before that, So a lot of you, that's what it's important when you are with someone intimately. You have to, especially if they didn't go well or this person was a fucking karmic, especially if it's a Jezebel. A lot of you narcissist Jezebels are the fucking worst. And that one takes longer to heal. Trust me on this one. And I know a lot of all of you, oh, what do you know? You've been celibate for I don't know how many years and you only had one serious relationship, which turned out to be anyways, but that was a lesson and got really good reward out of it, beautiful children out of it, but it's a lesson that I will never repeat again. Glory be to God. Amen.
It's a common phrase, why don't we just let kids be kids? My ex-wife thought our child was too young to learn about racism, yet I taught our daughter about racism from the time she was 6. She's turning 12 in a few months, and she is a fierce ally for the black and brown communities. I remember showing her the documentary 13th on Netflix when she was 9. It had graphic images of black and brown people being hung and dogs being sicked on them. I remember at the time my daughter turned to me and said, "Daddy, I understand why Mommy doesn't think I should be learning about this stuff now." I reminded her that her aunt's first time being called the N-word was at the age of 8. And I asked her, "Do you think that black children have the option to choose whether or not they learn about racism?" She replied no, so I asked her, "Why should white children have the privilege of not having to learn about racism?" Focusing on our white children's comfortability does them a disservice because it prevents them from being the best humans that they can be. Although racism makes white children uncomfortable, it makes black children dead.
A liberated Palestine means a liberated Middle East. A liberated Middle East means capitalism in the core really faces a crisis, and they will not let that happen. It's funny, like I'm always asked to talk about ecology, when really what I want to talk about is capitalist imperialism, and the two are just are a piece of the same problem, right? The ecological crisis is ultimately playing out along colonial lines, right? We know that it is the countries of the imperial core that are overwhelmingly responsible, and specifically their ruling classes, who control the means of production and energy systems and investment, et cetera, are overwhelmingly responsible for the excess emissions that are driving climate breakdown, right? We know that's a fact. We also know it's a fact that the global south suffers the overwhelming majority of the impacts of climate breakdown, right? The people who have contributed literally nothing to the crisis whatsoever, not contributed a small amount, contributed nothing, right? And it's not just, of course, climate breakdown that we face. There's also other dimensions of the ecological crisis. And here, too, we see the same thing playing out. When it comes to excess material use in the world economy, overwhelmingly, it's due to excess material use and accumulation in the imperial core. Half of the material use that's used in the core is net appropriated from the periphery, from the territories of the global south, right? Which causes severe damage. You don't see this damage in Sussex or in Finland. You see it in the Congo. You see it in Indonesia, right? You see it in Bolivia, in the frontiers of extraction. The core benefits and everyone else suffers. The ecological crisis represents processes of colonization and appropriation, and also is a disaster that's playing out along colonial lines. I think that's really important to spell out. And if we're not attentive to those colonial dimensions, I really think we're fundamentally missing the point. We're fundamentally missing the point. The other thing I want to point out here is that we're in this incredible paradox, right, where the world economy, we know, is just massively productive. Like, our productive capacities are incredible. Think of the scale of the labor that humanity has at its disposal, the resources, the technology, the factories, the energy, the materials. Incredible amounts of production to the point of breaking past ecological limits. And yet, the vast majority of the human population lives in conditions of massive deprivation. 80% of the population can't meet basic needs. So what explains this incredible paradox? It's ultimately our system of production. The social and ecological crisis that we face, which appears unresolvable, is ultimately a symptom of our system of production, capitalism, where our productive capacities, our incredible productive capacities, are organized overwhelmingly around what is most profitable to capital and what can most facilitate accumulation in the core, rather than what is obviously necessary to meet human needs and achieve our ecological objectives. And so we're in this wild place where it's like, oh, solving poverty is just going to take generations, right? If we're lucky, we'll get people above $1.90 a day by the end of the century, right? The climate crisis, who can figure out how to solve this? It seems intractable. None of this is true. It's lies. These are problems that can be very easily solved and very quickly. The problem is that we don't have control over our own productive capacities because we don't have an economic democracy, right? Some of us live in political democracies where from time to time we get to elect government officials. But when it comes to the economic system, not even the pretense of democracy is allowed to exist. And that is ultimately the contradiction we face, I think, right? This is a crisis that at its root is about capitalism and can only be resolved by overcoming that fact. And the antidote to capitalism is economic democracy, that we should have collective democratic control over what we are producing, what the goals of our production are, who benefits from our production, and so on. And when we do, we can solve these problems quickly, right? We know exactly what to do. The problem is we don't have the power. And so I think that in the face of this crisis, we have to have clarity about what has to be achieved, and we have to start building the movements that are capable of achieving that. For the South, there's another element I think we have to pay attention to, which is that they need economic sovereignty, right? They need economic liberation at a national level first. The global North is overwhelmingly responsible for the crisis, but the global South, we know, also needs to engage in ecological planning, energy transition, et cetera, et cetera. How does anyone expect them to do that when they do not have sovereign control over their own resources, their own labor, their own lands, their own energy, right? Under the thumb of structural adjustment programs that prevent them from using progressive industrial policy, prevent them from using progressive fiscal policy, prevent them from using progressive monetary policy, basic tools that we know can allow them to achieve developments and ecological transition, they are effectively denied from using. What is the solution to that for the South? Is struggles for economic liberation, right? Now, I think we have to be cognizant of the fact that a struggle for economic liberation in the South is fundamentally antithetical to the capitalist world economy. Because accumulation in the core depends utterly on the cheapening of labor and resources in the global South. It depends utterly on that and has for the past 500 years. And so any attempt by liberation struggles in the periphery to achieve economic independence, to use their own resources for their own development, for their own ecological transition, for their own human needs, is destabilizing for capital in the core. And capital reacts with the most extraordinary violent backlashes. We see it happening all the time. Now it is Palestine, before it was Libya, before it was Iraq, before it was Chile, before it was Indonesia, before it was the Congo. It will never stop. It's over and over again. And I think the situation in Palestine right now, we have to understand, is not primarily a moral one. That's how we think of it. That is not how capital thinks of it. For them, it is a matter of suppressing and crushing liberation movements, because a liberated Palestine means a liberated Middle East. A liberated Middle East means capitalism in the core really faces a crisis, and they will not let that happen. And they're unleashing the full violence of their extraordinary power to ensure it doesn't. And so I think that's really what we face, right? It's the world system dimension of the violence that we're seeing. And we have to be cognizant of that, and our struggles and our resistance have to be in proportion.
It's illegal to boycott Israel in 36 states in America. Government is trying to enforce requiring individuals or businesses entering into contracts with the state government to sign agreements stating that they will not boycott Israel. Although the government has the ability to regulate its contract, boycotts are still protected under the First Amendment right, freedom of speech. This is a prime example how AIPAC is influencing our laws. AIPAC is an American Israel Public Affairs Committee, which plays a huge role in the laws made in America. AIPAC has been influencing the anti-BDS laws, which is how it is now illegal to boycott Israel in America in these states. BDS is Boycott, Divestment, and Sanctions, which is a Palestinian-led movement that lets you know where you are really spending your money and how these companies are using your money. For example, Amazon and Google signed Project Nimbus, a $1.2 billion contract with the Israeli government. This is why I personally use the No Thanks app to scan or search my products, and it will let you know if the company is complicit with proof. Or you can use the BDS website. Don't forget to read the Havara Agreement, HAAVARA Agreement.
Okay. So basically what he was, Father God is saying, it's not about it's the message, okay? Because, not because, that's another thing, like that's what I wanted to say, is that just because you think that having multiple partners and having multiple relationship and stuff like that, that makes you experienced, right? That makes you like, oh, I know the feel, I can play the game just like them and blah, blah, blah. It's like a car. You lose value. Your internal value in terms of spirit value, your aura, it decreases every time you have sex with multiple people. Yeah, I know it's gonna get rowdy, a lot of people, but it is the truth. This is what they also colonizers have make sure that you don't learn the real spirituality truth, because that also benefits them. When you are lustful, when you have no high standards, when you don't take care of your body, when you don't practice celibacy, abstinence, because you're easily controlled. This is what they want people to work in, sex work and stuff like that. Not that I'm shading all these people, because they also have a very important role to keep patriarchy, fantasy illusion, right? Because mostly people who buy sex is people who are disgusting cheaters, right? That's what I'm getting at. The culture and cheating culture, right? Which also, unfortunately, sex workers are affected by that due to colonialism, due to patriarchy, due to the system, capitalism. So in a way, sex workers are kind of also the distraction from these people doing the work, but they're not really doing the work, but at least you get money out of it, right? I'm not blaming them, because they have to find some form of survival, because also they get dehumanized and demonized, because they can't find any sense of work, so they have to sustain themselves, so they have to find a way to do it. And if this is the option that they have to get, then this has happened, you know. But I'm not putting the blame on anything. It's just that there's other ways to find work, and that one is actually, I know for the physical is a physical like satisfaction for a little bit to pay bills, I understand, but it has a higher consequences in your body. Yes, I'm speaking for those people, you know. And unfortunately, every time I talk about this, last time I talked about this, I was literally labeled as someone who, like, literally a horrible smirker and playing, people saying that, oh, this is someone who probably is one and blah, blah, blah. No. I never had to do that. Even when I was in homeless, I never had to do that. Never had to stoop that low, because that is standing low. That's lowering your standards, the value of your body for money. I'm not judging, just, you know what you're doing, that is, you're contributing, you're also a distraction contributing to what we're trying to eradicate. Okay? Find other ways to use your body, but not for money. Okay? That's it. Like in the Bible, even God was merciful and was forgiven to them and was, you know, telling them like, okay, like, but don't do it again, because it is wrong. But you see, that's the fucked up thing, that this fucking system, capitalism, has literally made you guys go against your own belief, your own values and moral for money. That's what we literally go do anything. Like, we neglect our health, we neglect our body, we neglect our families, we're constantly neglected because the system neglects people. That's really it. To benefit themselves, to hoard our money, and to acquire financial generational wealth that's not even theirs. The channel message is that the culture, cheating culture, is not only is like the lowest of the low, okay, but anybody who portrays that, like, for example, like there was this guy on TikTok and I was like, oh my God, it's so funny. Like, he was talking about that. He's from France, and he was saying how this girl asked him out and blah, 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 and they went on a date, and then all of a sudden she's like, he told like, oh, I'm married. He's like, wait, what? It's like, oh, okay, this is a friendship thing. This is a friendship thing. And she's like, no, let's go to your house and stuff like that. And he's like, wait, what? And he's like, and she's like, yeah. He doesn't know about it. Like, it's a fucking normal thing. And the guy was freaking out. I love that men like this, and a lot of y'all, like, I know colonizers and people have put that in your mind, that there's no men that can, like, say no to fucking hookers and fucking cheaters and gold diggers, because obviously that was a gold digger, right? She's only with that person, married to that person because of this money, and literally going on DMs on Instagram and dating other people and stuff like that. A lot of you're married to fucking people who are into that cheating culture and hookup culture, and you don't even know it. And you have high standards, and you value yourself. But a lot of you're sick, you're drained, your body feels some type of way, you have STI, STDs or something like that, and you don't know what the fuck. Yeah, your partner, whoever you're sleeping, who's a demon, yeah, that one. A lot of you start questioning when you're in a partner relationship, because that was my cue as well. I wasn't having sex with other people, but why am I getting STI and all that weird shit when I'm always clean and all that stuff? That's your cue. One of you are cheating. And if you know it's not you, you know it's the other person. The hookup culture, that's a fucking bullshit of anything I could ever imagine. What do you get out of it though? You don't get nothing out of it. Cheeky cheeky ching, change your fluid. You take that person's demons and karma, they take yours. And if you're gifted and you haven't been with anybody and you just started that shit, especially when a lot of you take a period of not doing that, heal yourself, you get your aura back, you get all your shit back, then you go and tempt it, right? Tempt it. And then that's it. But during that exchange, which is not your partner, it's not someone that you're meant to, it's not someone that God has destined you, during that exchange, it actually benefits colonizers. Yeah. A lot of you are like, what do you mean? Like, yeah. Start noticing that when you keep that cheating culture and hookup culture, start noticing your finances, how it goes down. Start noticing how your health declines. Don't blame other people. You are the problem. Stop doing that shit. It's not gonna benefit you and you're benefiting colonizers. Fuck that shit. Go be happy by yourself first before you start having a relationship with another person. Because it just means that you don't love yourself at all. You don't have high standards, you don't have morals, you don't value yourself. And it's so sad. Trust me, the system benefits from that. Why would you do that? You're not benefiting anybody other than the system. Because when you're sick, when you don't have finances, when you're struggling, when you're in debt, when you are homeless, when you're in poverty, guess what you're feeding? Yeah, that. And that's what they want you. That's why the whole culture and the cheating culture, it's a patriarchy bullshit that is sad, but it's just to continue feeding the beast, which is capitalism. Yeah.